Hey guys, Last Wanderer here, and you might notice I'm standing in a weird biome. This obviously isn't a taiga, nor is it a snowy taiga, because it has snow blocks on the ground. This is actually a new biome called Grow, and this is Minecraft now. Wow. Now, all these massive changes come in the first 1.18 snapshot, but it is an experimental snapshot, so you won't be able to find it in the launcher or any of the normal places. Instead, you'll have to download the snapshot from this post here and install it yourself, following these instructions. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Back in the game though, we have a lot to cover, including 7 newly generating biomes, 5 for the mountains and 2 for the underground. First off, we have the Grove, the biome I was in earlier. It looks a lot like snowy taiga biomes, except there's snow blocks for the ground. Also, powder snow can generate in this biome, making it a good source for powder snow and also a death trap. The second new mountain biome is the Snowy Slopes. This biome is a lot like the Grove, except it doesn't have any spruce trees, though it still has those patches of powder snow, so watch out. And the third mountains biome is the Meadow. This biome is basically a plains biome that'll generate at higher altitudes, though it'll never generate with any trees. It does contain a copious amount of flowers though. These flowers will differ from meadow to meadow. For instance, up here I have oxeye daisies and cornflowers, but if I fly farther down, you'll see some blue orchids and dead bushes will generate. It'll also contain some of the plains mobs. For instance, this one has a lot of donkeys, not really sure why. But other mobs, like rabbits, will also spawn here. Here's another meadows biome I found. This one generates with azure bluets and dandelions, though weirdly enough, only donkeys and rabbits can be found here. Either that's intentional or that's a bug. There's no way of knowing now though. And the fourth new mountain biome is the Lofty Peaks. These biomes are comprised mostly of snow and stone, and will only generate at the top of very tall mountains. Other than that though, there's not too much interesting with them. They also don't even contain any powder snow. The fifth and final new mountain biome is the Snow-Capped Peaks, which is pretty funny considering it's mostly capped with packed ice. However, it does contain a few splashes of regular ice and a bunch of snow as well. Though, like Lofty Peaks, this biome does not contain any powder snow, and it will only generate very high up on mountains. Now, let's take a look at the new cave biomes, starting with Lush Caves. Lush Caves were in the game before, though they didn't actually generate in normal survival worlds. Now they do, and we get all the features that come with that, including the moss areas with moss blocks, moss carpets, azaleas, and flowering azaleas, the roofs full of cave vines and glowberries, and now the new spore blossom, which you couldn't get in survival before. There's also the clay areas, which have drip leaves and small drip leaves, along with a few ponds, but the most important part of this area here is we can now get small drip leaves much easier than just having to wait around for a wandering trader. And the other new cave biome is the Dripstone Caves, which, like the Lush Caves, we've seen before, but it never generated in regular survival worlds. But wow, does this biome look amazing. I know what a lot of you must be thinking. Where's the Deep Dark biome? Well, that biome doesn't generate yet. But don't worry, this is only the first 1.18 snapshot. There's still plenty of time for all the blocks and the warden to be added to the game. This 1.18 snapshot also adds back all the caves and cliffs features that were delayed, including the new caves, the new world height, ore veins, new ore distribution, deep slate generating at the bottom of the world, aquifers, and so much more. Though I won't be getting into any of the old stuff that's been re-added, because I've already covered it in most of my snapshot feature reviews. If you want to check that out, check out this playlist. Let's get back to the new stuff though. For a long time, Mojang has not wanted to touch any world generation that wasn't directly part of their update. For instance, in 1.13, they wanted to minimize their impact on the land, while only updating the oceans. In 1.14, they added the new Bamboo Hills biome and Bamboo Jungle biome, but with that change, they only changed jungles. The rest of the world's biomes didn't change at all. However, with 1.18, they've completely thrown this out. They're changing all world generation. As you can see, we have some extreme terrain that would never have generated before. But with this being a cave update, we have some other things that have changed, like large holes that'll go deep into the underground. And yes, there are a lot of these terrain generation changes, like this chasm here that'll take you far down into the underground. And you can also find steep, dramatic drops into the caves below. There can also be found some very large and long aquifers that breach the surface. Normal surface biomes are also a lot more extreme, as I mentioned earlier. This mountain here is made up of plains and forest. This isn't even a mountain biome. This new world generation, though, is still in the early stages of development and is a bit glitchy. For instance, there's a lot more floating blocks than normal, and things like this can happen. This is not a desert biome, this is a beach biome. A beach completely surrounded by land, nowhere near an ocean. And yes, that's just a regular pond, not an ocean. And then we have biome problems, like this hodgepodge mess over here. This is the Badlands Biome, formerly called the Mesa. If you know anything about the Badlands Biome, you would know it's not just supposed to be some terracotta covered peak, it's supposed to be a very large, sprawling biome. Then there's this desert here, which looks normal at first, until you see all the grass in it. Though that might not be this desert's fault, but because there's actually an invisible plains biome that generated on top of it. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, I'll just stand right here. Without moving forwards, backwards, left or right, I'll simply drop. And you can watch all the biomes I fall through. Yes, you saw that correctly. I fell through the meadow, plains, desert, and Badlands biome all in the same Y column. So yeah, this snapshot definitely has some biome mixing problems, though I still recommend you check it out for yourself, because these changes are absolutely amazing, and these bugs will eventually be sorted out in later snapshots. With the terrain generation changes looked at, let's continue looking at some of the new changes. And this next one is also pretty revolutionary. Now, wherever there's light, mobs will not spawn, even in light level 1. That means things like glow lichen, which never previously blocked mob spawning, will. And mobs will only spawn in light level 0 or complete darkness. That changes a lot. Now you can build your bases with a lot more comfort, knowing even light level 1 is enough to block a mob from spawning. So you'll need to use less lights in your base overall, and there'll be less dark corners overall where mobs can accidentally end up spawning. In case you're wondering, this change won't really impact mob farms, since mob farms were already optimized to be at light level 0. Though, that's pretty inconsequential to the big change of world height. Since the world's bigger, mob spawning will be slower, and that's definitely going to impact mob farms. But there is the added benefit with these new light changes, mobs won't really spawn in your regular farms, and you won't have to worry about light level as much. Finally, let's look at the last big change of this first 1.18 snapshot, and that's the snow blocks. Yes, you heard that right, snow blocks have been changed. If you noticed it on the snowy slopes, or the grove biome, snow can now support grass on it. So it's been changed in a lot of ways to be more like grass blocks and moss blocks. On a snow block, you can also place flowers, other types of flowers, and you can even put saplings. If you bone wheel a sapling that's on a snow block, it'll turn the snow block into dirt. And that also works with other types of saplings. But, as always, if you use an azalea, that snow block will be turned into rooted dirt. So, that is yet another way to renewably get dirt. And in case you're wondering, no, this does not work with snow layers. And that's all from this first 1.18 experimental snapshot. The 1.18 update as a whole is looking very promising, though there are still a lot of bugs to be fixed. But if you can, I urge you to check this snapshot out for yourself. Though, that's all I've got for now, so thank you all so much for watching. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out some of my other videos, and make sure to come back next time. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye. This is supposed to be a swamp biome.